The Spider-Man franchise has had a checkered history when it comes to video game versions of the web-slinger's tales. Beanox, who's been in charge of the franchise since the critically acclaimed Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions was released back in 2010, has shown promise to Spidey fans, only to fall back to a subpar effort with Spider-Man Edge of Time in 2011. For games looking to recreate the magic of comic books, Rocksteady has set the bar pretty high with the Batman Arkham franchise. Willing to accept no less than perfect with these popular franchises, Beanox has a tall order to fill with The Amazing Spider-Man. With a corresponding cinematic release impending, all of the buzz has already been generated for this video game adaptation. But can Beanox execute more than just another movie tie-in cash grab? The story in The Amazing Spider-Man, the video game, takes place where the movie leaves off. Oscorp Industries has created an army of robots that maintain peace in New York City, scanning for infected life forms after Dr. Connors goes on his cinematic rampage as the Lizard. Oscorp has also continued Connors' research into cross-species, and these walking infectious diseases have escaped into Manhattan, infecting innocents and Spidey's high school sweetheart, Gwen Stacy. Spider-Man breaks Connors out of prison, and together they'll work to cure the infection in the city and rescue his friend. The biggest problem for these types of movie tie-in games hasn't been in the story department, however. It's been in the cookie-cutter approach to the gameplay mechanics that has been the real underlying problem. A general inability to make the player believe in the character that they are controlling and to engage them with something new and unique in the process. In the case of Spider-Man, confining this character into the tiny spaces that were found in the Edge of Time is self-defeating. In this game, Beanox sets the player in an open world with the ability to explore and swing to your heart's content. The mechanic feels great, and for those that have seen the previous Spider-Man movies, you'll get that same feeling that Peter Parker did the first time he mastered his new abilities. That's the feeling that Beanox was obviously going for, and it works. The open world is a setting for Spider-Man to shine, and the way that web swinging is both introduced and utilized throughout the game feels like this was one pillar of design philosophy that was fine-tuned to near perfection before release. Swinging through the city, you'll hear citizens talking about you, you'll encounter crimes and other side content to engage in, and there's also plenty of unlockable comics to find throughout. Going hand in hand with the swinging mechanics is the new Webb Rush mode. This mode allows Spidey to slow down time, target an item, enemy, ledge. It'll give you full control of where you want Spider-Man to end up and can be used to set up attacks, takedowns, stealth kills, or just pick items up on the fly. Beanox definitely impresses with these new gameplay features in The Amazing Spider-Man. Coupling them with a cinematic presentation style, it's hard to imagine a Spider-Man fan having many gripes when this type of experience comes into play, though the developer does miss in a few key areas. While the combat definitely feels better than the previous iterations, you can tell that Beanox has been using the Rocksteady cheat sheet when it comes to combat mechanics. Some pretty standard enemy types that'll be easily recognized by those that have played the Batman Arkham franchise are fought in almost exactly the same fashion. In fact, a lot of the combat feels very similar to Arkham City overall, though an extremely simplified version of it. Spidey just doesn't have the cool gadgetry that Batman has, so many mechanics are reused throughout the entirety of The Amazing Spider-Man. Upgradables will give you more variation to your abilities and create significant combat advantages for Spider-Man as the game progresses. The Amazing Spider-Man is a blend of stealth, action, and acrobatics that ultimately provides a rewarding combat experience, but it's definitely got some work to do before it rivals the best in class. It's not all roses in The Amazing Spider-Man. It can actually be quite a mixed bag. While the model for Spider-Man is exceptional, including a degradable suit, there are 10 times as many average-looking character models to be found in this game. The good part is, you only see the average stuff for a small percentage of the time. Driven by standard cutscenes, the cinematics in-game are par for this generation, but I feel like they could have used more polish to wrap together what is otherwise a pretty amazing experience. Other detractors include some touchy inverted controls. Walking on walls or ceilings is somewhat disorienting, and as is the case in many third-person action games, The Amazing Spider-Man does also see some camera issues. Engaging in a fight in certain positions can paint you into a corner that brings almost certain death, and inevitably, some frustration. Though despite these notable flaws, The Amazing Spider-Man can help but being the best Spider-Man game in recent memory. For every spot you find a lack of polish, you'll find one that is equally shiny, making up for the misstep. A decent story for those that are looking for even more Spider-Man after the July 4th theatrical release. The Amazing Spider-Man doesn't falter like so many other movie tie-ins before it. Beanox could have easily phoned this one in like Edge of Time, but thankfully didn't. Capturing the essence of a dynamic character like Spider-Man can't be an easy task, but Beanox is getting better and better at it, and this might, No, this is their best effort yet.